The Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut is almost here, promising to make one of the biggest games of last year even bigger and better. The Director's Cut includes the full Ghost of Tsushima game, a new Hero of Tsushima skin set, a Hachiman's favourite charm, one technique point to spend on whatever you like, a digital mini art book, and a director's commentary, as well as a new cooperative multiplayer Legends mode. Though this is disabled until launch, and so we were unable to try this out for review. The PS5 version specifically also adds haptic feedback for the DualSense controller, a full Japanese lip sync option, and 3D audio support, as well as faster loading times. Now, as interesting as a director's cut is, and how gorgeous a digital art book of this game is, I think the real draw of the director's cut from fans who have already scoured every inch of Tsushima Island as Lord Jin Sakai is the new content. All set on the brand new location of Iki Island, situated to the southeast of Tsushima. It's a pretty big chunk of new gameplay too, with a bunch of new minigames to discover and with the main story path following a campaign that fits nicely into the established legend of the Sakai clan. And there are a few mysteries and secrets hidden in Iki's wisteria-strewn cliffsides and savage, ragged coastlines too. We've had a thorough tour of Iki ourselves and sampled pretty much everything it has to offer. So if you're thinking of picking it up, but that decision still rests on a knife edge, or katana edge more appropriately, here's our review.
We can save Iki Island if we stand together, but our fight is just beginning.
You, samurai, and your speeches.
To access the new content, players will have to have reached at least Act 2 of the main game, reaching the Toyotama region of Tsushima. If you've gotten much further than that, we had a fully platinumed finished game save that we transferred painlessly from our PS4, you can still load it up without trouble. Just go to the Journal tab in your save menu, where a pop-up will say Tales of Iki are now available, then select Tales of Iki, select Journey into the Past, and follow the guiding wind to get started. Once you travel to Iki, you'll need to progress through the story a little way before you can head back to Tsushima, but after this, you can go back and forth pretty much as you like.
Samurai! The eagle calls to you!
Now, perhaps somewhat unsurprisingly, if you're accessing Tales of Iki from a completed save of Ghost of Tsushima, don't expect too much of a challenge here. All our skill trees were maxed out, and save one more skill that you can unlock shortly after arriving at Iki, there wasn't a bunch more to improve with Jin when it came to combat. Particularly since, as mentioned, you get a free technique point on downloading the director's cut, extra content anyway. The new skill is Horse Charge, where you can send your trusty steed galloping full force into an approaching crowd of enemies, potentially killing some on impact and certainly sending any survivors scattering. It's a neat addition, and its introduction made us think that mounted combat would be more of a thing on Iki Island. Though there's never really any payoff to this, and indeed, there's seldom any real need to use Horse Charge given the enemies Jin typically encounters travel in small groups on the road, or are holed up in camps and hard to reach areas where it's more or less impossible to fight on horseback. Now, combat is really mostly a case of more of the same, and given how enjoyable most players found the combat in Ghost of Tsushima, this is unlikely to be a problem. One new inclusion is that of shamans, followers of this storyline's main antagonist, the Eagle. Shamans will mostly hang back during combat, chanting and boosting the resolve and attack rate of their soldiers, so it's wise to prioritize taking them out as soon as possible. Unfortunately, they all wear heavy-duty helmets, so a swift arrow or two just won't cut it. Anyway, their master, the Eagle, a Mongol shaman, has been poisoning the people of Iki with a hallucinogenic drug that causes them to see visions and makes them susceptible to being controlled through fear. Knowing Tsushima is next if Iki falls, Jin decides to travel there and stop the eagle before she makes the first move. Though Jin is reluctant to go there for personal reasons. It's not only where he lost his father, but since that event 15 years prior, Iki has looked less than favourably upon Clan Sakai. So, taking up a new mantle, Jin from Yarikawa, off he travels. He's mostly alone on this journey, though there are plenty of familiar faces from the main campaign that pop up from time to time. Provided you've met them first, of course. I mean, it definitely feels like, from a story perspective, this content is best left until you've finished the key narrative beats of the main game. Mostly because then you'll have a stronger sense of who Jin is and what drives him. And this extra content dives into his past, and specifically his relationship with his parents in detail. There are a few friends to make along the way, but given most of Iki is deeply distrustful of samurai, it isn't a clear-cut path to victory against the Mongols. Off the trail of the eagle though, because no spoilers here please, there are some new activities to hunt down, and some familiar markers on the map to tick off. There are a small number of lighthouse braziers to ignite, haikus to compose, and hot springs to discover if you've been missing that little glimpse of Jin's butt. Plus some bamboo strikes to test your speed and skill. Pillars of Honor yield some nifty new sword kits, but if you're hoping to pet some foxes, you are fresh out of luck, my friend. It seems those little balls of cat software running on dog hardware never made it to Iki Island. Instead, there are cat, monkey, and deer sanctuaries, picturesque little spots where the animals congregate. Here, Jin can practice his flute to calm the critters enough to let him pet them. Playing the right note means tilting your DualSense controller up and down to follow the flow of the song, and though it might look intimidating, it is ridiculously forgiving. So long as you're in the same general area code as the green bar, you will be absolutely fine, and most songs you play will not switch up the notes much at all. Your rewards are various charm improvements, but more importantly, adorable new animal friends. Well, for these singular animations, of course. Other new mini-games include archery contest spots, where Jin will be challenged to hit multiple paper lantern targets with his bow as fast as possible for bronze, silver, and gold wins, successfully hitting all the targets in 22, 15, and 7 seconds respectively. New charms are up for grabs here again. There are a few other secrets and shrines hidden away throughout the island, and those aside, it's really mostly business as usual. Facing off against any Mongol patrols you see, rescuing prisoners, and getting some info that may lead to a side quest or two. There are also 2 Mythic Tales to find and uncover, which will unlock some nifty armor, a set for you and a set for your horse. And these also tie into Jin's overall arc quite nicely. They're also probably some of the nicest set pieces in the extra content overall. One takes place on the vicious shores of a shipwreck that threaten to wash you away with one wrong step. And the other takes you deep into some cave catacombs where beady eyes watch you from the dark. They won't take too long to complete and are a lot of fun, so make sure not to miss them.
Show yourself.
Another hunter, desperate for my armor.
Basically, if you're anything like us, you'll be busy exploring the stunning island of Iki and unlocking everything it has to offer before even attempting to further the main story. As a result, our legend and all of our stats were maxed out long before any final confrontations or big revelations. But the fun of Ghost of Tsushima's gameplay is that really matters very little in the grand scheme of things. The fun isn't really in the challenge, but in how fun you can make encounters with all the tools and toys that are at your disposal. And how cool you can look while doing it, of course. It's the same with the story. There isn't a ton of depth to what's going on here, and the eagle is pretty bland and underused as villains go, to be honest. But some of the smaller character moments are great and add a little extra flavour to Jin's journey. The real star is the landscape itself, which, just like before, is stunningly beautiful. Truth be told, it feels like the PS5 version doesn't add a ton of new detail to these islands, and that is mostly due to the fact that they looked incredible to begin with. And just like before, this game knows how good it looks, and never misses an opportunity to slow things down and just show off every curve and swerve of its landscape. And we're here for it. We stopped for a few cheeky panic shots more times than were strictly necessary because, well, just look at it. So, just like we felt with the main game, there's nothing new or groundbreaking with the Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut or the Tales of Iki, but it's all incredibly Moorish just the same. This is luxury popcorn gaming. Just good fun while you flit from location to location, undertaking a wide range of strange, silly, or sad side adventures, while occasionally flexing your sword arm. The Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut just makes a good game better and bigger, and although Tales of Iki isn't a reason to pick up the game all on its own, the Director's Cut is a great version for anyone that missed the game the first time around. The visual jump isn't huge, but when the PS4 game looked as good as it did, there were only so many improvements that could be made. The haptic feedback additions are subtle, truth be told, so don't expect anything mind-blowing there. But the faster load times and 3D audio support are certainly welcome changes. Anyway, if you loved Ghost of Tsushima when it launched just over a year ago, yeah, I know, feels like longer than that, right? Then you'll find absolutely nothing wrong with spending a little more time with Jin Sakai in a gorgeous new location. Iki Island is more than welcoming to those eager to explore its secrets. If you fancy watching me play the main game from the start, then we do have a Let's Play for that, as well as a review of the original game, which should be on screen now. If you decide to pick up the game for the first time, enjoy! Let us know if you're planning on picking up the Director's Cut right here, or if you're holding out for a sequel. It's all about a Lady Masako Adachi spin-off for us. Thanks for watching. Bye!
Now something monstrous has taken root on Iki Island. I have to go back.